Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, the Democrats' capitulation to Donald Trump and the MAGA party is even worse than what we knew. I am more pissed today than I was yesterday, if that's possible. So, here's the deal. Here's what we found out today. Politico reported that as part of this deal that they made to reopen the government, Democrats have agreed to allow senators to sue the Justice Department for $500,000 a pop if their phone records are obtained as part of an investigation and they're not notified in advance. I am not joking. This is exactly what is going down. So that provision was inserted into the government funding package by the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune. Democrats went along with this. They knew about it and went along with it, at least some of them. Politico wrote this. The provision states that electronic services providers must notify a Senate office if the provider receives a request to disclose the data from that senator or senator's office. Moreover, the legislative language stipulates that the provider cannot be barred from notifying the Senate office under a court order, though that notification may be delayed in the event the senator in question is under criminal investigation. So understand what that means. They cannot, even if a judge says, the AT&T, T-Mobile, whoever, whatever provider it is, you cannot notify this person because it could jeopardize the investigation. They can't. This provision prohibits that. It overrules the courts. It says, no, if you do that, that lawmaker can receive $500,000 in tax money. This is complete and utter bullshit. Republican Senator Ted Cruz admitted this is in direct response to the special counsel probe, to Jack Smith and his probe looking into the, stop the steal attempted coup that Donald Trump tried to perpetuate, that Donald Trump tried to undertake to overturn the 2020 election, to steal the 2020 election. And Politico said it appears, and they didn't elaborate, but they said it appears that the senators who were targeted by Smith, that was their word, targeted. I say, no, he was doing a legitimate investigation, and so he subpoenaed their phone records. Those senators whose phone records were handed over to Jack Smith, they will be receiving a cash bonus as part of the provision in this funding bill. For what? What did they suffer? What happened to them? Nothing. Nothing happened to these people, and they're now going to get taxpayer dollars for nothing because they did things that were highly suspicious, and so they were under investigation for it. So, New Mexico Democratic Senator Martin Heinrich, he did not know about this. He told Politico, quote, I am furious that the Senate minority and majority leaders chose to airdrop this provision into this bill at the 11th hour with zero consultation or negotiation with the subcommittee that actually oversees this work. This is precisely what's wrong with the Senate. Senator Ron Wyden referred to this as, quote unquote, very troubling. And he said, quote, it seems that there's quite an effort on the other side, people saying that they don't know anything about it, which ought to be a wake-up call to everybody about the possibility of abuse. So what was made clear in this article is that Chuck Schumer knew. He knew about this, and he said nothing And then he gave his consent to not only include it in the government funding bill, but we now know he gave his consent for the 7 Democrats and the 1 independent to sign on to this bullshit and reopen the government and screw people out of their health insurance. I mean, first of all, do we get to sue? If we're under investigation and our phone records are subpoenaed by the Justice Department, do we get to sue for $500,000? No, because we're just mere mortals. We're not gods like they are, right? I am so sick and tired of these jackasses and their games. And don't think for a minute that Democrats aren't happy about this. The skeezy, underhanded corporate Democrats that are up to no good and doing insider stock trading, they don't want people looking at their phones either. They are just as guilty. And check out what Democratic Senator Tim Kaine is saying about this abomination and their capitulation to Trump. This is infuriating. I'm just going to tell you up front.
It doesn't seem like some of the parties just angry about this. It seems like this is ripping the party apart at a time where it felt like the party was coming back together post-elections. How do you convince your fellow Democrats to stay together on this? And how do you convince voters across the country to believe in the Democrats again?
Can I just say,
go ahead.
Can I just say, ripping the party apart? I think you're over-dramatizing this. I mean, I know the news business is to try to make everything like the biggest crisis since. You could have read the same quotes last month, a month ago. Will Rogers, 100 years ago. I don't believe in organized politics. That's why I'm a Democrat. We're a big tent. We have different points of view. I've been doing this for 31 years. This is by far, a minor league issue within the Democratic Party. We're going to unify around having the health care fight within a month, and people are going to see where Democrats are and see where Republicans are.
I'm telling you, I'm pissed. No, Tim, no. A month ago, you had the Democratic base on your side. But then you spit in our faces after we just handed you wins throughout the entire country. So no one should ever forget or forgive that smirk on his face or his dismissive attitude. Oh, you're being dramatic. Oh, you're over dramatized. Really? I saw somebody posted, I think it was Ken Klippenstein, posted this video on Twitter. Not Klippenstein, but Tim Kaine got ratioed hard. Like, people are freaking furious. If Tim Kaine thinks that he's safe just because his election isn't up anytime soon, he is not very bright. I will personally never let this go. I will remind all of you of this. Just wait. I do not forgive or forget. And I want to read to you guys part of this op-ed. This was written by a Republican strategist. This was written and published prior to the Democrats surrendering. This proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that they had the momentum. Democrats had the momentum. They could have secured and the extension that we were looking for on the healthcare subsidies if they weren't so goddamn weak. So this was published in the news outlet called The State. If you guys would like to read this piece, it's good. You should read the whole thing. So here's what it looks like. So this GOP strategist, as you see here, his name is Matt Wiley, and he wrote in part, quote, Tuesday's elections were a political beatdown, a full-scale rebuke of MAGA at the ballot box, and a flashing red warning for Republicans who still think grievance is a governing strategy. While off-year elections don't predict the midterms, they do expose fault lines and offer plenty of lessons to be learned. And then he went on to say, Healthcare has always been the GOP's Achilles heel, so it's no surprise Democrats chose to die on that hill. What they didn't anticipate was how long the shutdown would last or how politically valuable it would become. Once it became clear that the SNAP benefits for 42 million Americans would expire just as Obamacare premiums spiked, Democrats had no reason to open or reopen the government. Simply put, the GOP got outplayed by the Democrats. He's saying they were winning, okay? Then he goes on to say, now Republicans are stuck in a dangerous game of chicken. If this drags through Thanksgiving and Christmas, the political ads will write themselves. Empty dinner tables, missed paychecks, and a GOP Congress that has been MIA. Bottom line, if Republicans don't fix this fast, 2026 won't just be a loss, it'll be an extinction event. This was a Republican strategist saying Democrats have the upper hand. All they need to do is hold out. You had Angus King out there today. I think it was on Morning Joe or something saying, oh, well, we realized we just can't beat Donald Trump. You know, we tried to beat him and we just can't do it. What fucking losers. As the saying goes, lead, follow, or get out of the way. These people need to get out of the way. They are not leaders. They are freaking pansy, weak-ass followers. They're ridiculous. They're an embarrassment. And here's the thing, and what really irks me so much, this proves that this is just a game to them. They never gave a damn. At least those 8 that voted for this never actually gave a damn whether or not people have health insurance and whether or not their medical issues and health issues and diseases have protection. If people can get treatment, if people can afford to go to the doctor or to go get chemo or to go get their medications that they need. And I'm not some huge chemo fan, you guys. I can get into that in another video, but there are people who that is the only thing they know, and that is the only thing that they are using and aware of to keep them alive. And it is now at a point because of this where they were going to lose their health insurance and they will not be able to afford treatment. They are absolutely throwing these people to the wolves. And it makes it very obvious that this was a game because there was absolutely no reason under the sun for them to cave at this moment. Not, like I said yesterday, not when we just came off of all of those wins last week and Democrats had all the momentum. They had everybody backing them. People were so happy that they were finally fighting. And this is when they choose to do this. So it is very obvious that this is what they wanted to do from the beginning. That they were just waiting for the SNAP benefits to end so they could hang that around Donald Trump's neck. And they were waiting for the insurance premiums to go up and for the markets to publish all of the new prices so that they could hang that around the Republicans' neck. Other than that, they not only got nothing, they gave things up. They gave the Republicans wins for no freaking reason. So yeah, it was a game to these 8 people. They don't care. They don't. We need to accept that. They may be on our team, but we should not want them on our team. We should kick them off of our team because they will drag us down. This is why when I listen to these focus groups, and I listen to a ton, as you guys know, if you're longtime viewers, you know, I'll sit and listen to 3 hours of a focus group just to get little nuggets to share with you. What I hear over and over again is the people are tired of the weakness of the Democratic Party and they think that they're corrupt. I hear those two things over and over and over again. And this just proves it. This just solidifies what people are already saying. So these people have to go. They are out of their depth. They don't know how to meet the moment. They don't understand the moment that we're in, and they don't understand the electorate. They do not understand the voters and what we want and what we need. So just pisses me off. This isn't a game. They're literally playing with people's lives. And as I've said before, the people who lost SNAP benefits, I'm not minimizing what they're going through, but there are food banks, there are churches, they have family members. There are ways for them to get food. The people who have health issues and diseases don't have anything to fall back on. They can't go to a food bank, to a health bank, and get a medication or get treatment for free. So it is not the same thing, and health insurance should have been their priority. So I will let you know if I hear any more, guys. Can't imagine that it could get any worse, but you never know. I don't want to jinx it. All right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.